Greetings, Pokemon fans, and welcome back to JD's Nerdverse. Today we're doing an prediction video for an optimized playthrough of Pokemon Crystal using Murkrow. We played through this Pokemon last week. I recommend you go check it out. Murkrow is the Darkness Pokemon. It's a Dark Flying type Pokemon introduced in Generation 2. Does not have an evolution this generation, does in future generations, but we're not have to deal with that this week. Let's go ahead and dive into this Pokemon. First off, the one on the right, that's what the Pokemon looks like all the time. The one on the left is its shiny. It's, as usual, a Generation 2 shiny is always pink. Let's go ahead and dive into what we did in the last playthrough and go over what we're going to do in this playthrough to potentially have a much better time and optimize this Pokemon. In the last playthrough we beat the game, or I should say we beat the Elite Four in 1 hour and 3 minutes 36 seconds with 3 resets. So that's a very fast time. Let me just put it that way. It's an extremely fast time. Whether I've done an optimized or not optimized playthrough, it's extremely fast. So yeah, it was such a good playthrough. It went very well. However, the second half didn't go so well. So we beat the entire game in 1 hour and 46 minutes and 16 seconds. It took us 34 resets on red alone just to beat this game. Now, that's because of poor planning, a lot of things like that, but I want to give some caveats in here. Like I said, 1, poor planning. I didn't prepare for the things that Red was going to throw my way. Second, had to use Curse to actually beat the game without me having to level up for 30 minutes or something. So this time could have been a lot worse. I want to leave that out there. But Curse kind of compensated for that. And though it is outlawed, I'm happy I did it this way because now I kind of see the allure of Curse and what it can do for you. And that's why there's some YouTubers out there that always like default to this. I like to come up with different strategies and find other ways. So I will not be using Curse going forward unless it's in like a really desperate situation. But I am glad I did it that way just so I can see it. However, in the optimized playthrough, we're going to fix that. We're not going to use Curse. We're going to get this done the old-fashioned way by finding a better strategy and whatnot. So let's dive into this Pokemon. Like I said, Murkrow, Darkness Pokemon, Dark Flying type. It's in the medium slow growth rate. And let's go over the stats real quick. HP is 60. Attack and special attack is 85. Defense and special defense is 42. And speed is 91. So it's a very balanced attacker. It's very frail. But with a base stat total of 405, you can't really complain too much about a single stage Pokemon. You can't get much better than that. It does evolve, like I said, not in this generation. It's actually a weird evolution. While I was looking this up, I looked at the stats of Murkrow, I think is what it's called. And it actually gets slower. It's one of those few evolutions like Poliwhirl and Poliwrath like that. When it evolves, it gets actually slower. Now, as we look at our weaknesses, pretty much the Dark type is negated by the Flying. So what we're weak to with Dark type is like fighting moves, and that's pretty much it. But our Flying type negates that, so it's just neutral damage. And the only weaknesses we have are Rock, Electric, Ice, and Fairy. And Fairy's not available in this generation, so it's just Rock, Electric, and Ice. And so pretty much all the Flying type stuff is what our weaknesses are. We have an immunity to Ground and Psychic, and we're resisted Ghost and Dark and Grass moves. So that's pretty good. Let's go and dive into the moveset and see what we're going to do to improve this Pokemon. This is where the big changes happen. So the first move we get is Peck, which is 35 base power, 100% accurate. We start the game with this. It's very effective. With Stab, it's 52 base power. And Pursuit, we get at level 11. It's 40, but 60 with Stab and 100% accurate. So there's 2 Stab moves right out the gate. And it really just covers a lot of bases. With the normal playthrough, we pretty much could just 1 or 2 shot everything. We're in such a good demanding place with these movesets. With these moves, I should say. And as we progress, Haze wasn't very useful. Nightshade had a little bit of use in the regular playthrough. Probably have a little use in this until we find better moves. And then Feint Attack will ultimately replace Pursuit as our go-to stab move for the Dark type. 60 base power, 90 with Stab, and it doesn't miss. And in Mean Look we never use. So those aren't horrible moves. Let's go into the TM moveset real quick, and we'll dive into what we're going to change up on the TM. So Curse, again, it's outlawed, so I'm trying not to use it again. Maybe I'll get desperate enough to use it again. We'll see, but I doubt it. I think I'm planning way better, way more prepared in this playthrough than I was in the last one, so we should have to deal with that. Toxic, not going to use. Psych Up, not going to use. Hidden Power, we are switching this up. In the original playthrough, I ignored a move called Icy Wind and went with Hidden Power Ice, because that's usually the default for most Pokemon. But in this case, Hidden Power Fire is going to fix a lot of our problems. And the reason why that is because we stalled out and took about 5 minutes to get by Jasmine, and Hidden Power Fire will negate that completely. Plus, our rival has a Magneton, and we're going to be able to negate that as well with Hidden Power Fire. So that's going to be super useful with 70 base power, 100% accurate. If we equip the Charcoal, we get another 10% boost. and it goes off. We're balanced, so attack or physical or special, it doesn't really matter. It's going to do pretty well. Sunny Day, not going to use. Snore, not going to use. Icy Wind, we're going to use that instead of Hidden Power Ice. It's not quite as powerful and it's not quite as accurate, but for what we need it for, things are like either 2 times or 4 times weak to it. It'll be just fine and it'll do the job. Protect, we're not going to use. Endure, Frustration. Return, we will use. It's not 102 base power when it gets maxed out with your friendship, and it's 100% accurate. Very useful in pretty much any playthrough. Shadow Ball, we'll probably use in the late game. 80 base power, 100% accurate. It's very useful. Mud Slap, as much as we get this like our first gym, it won't be useful till probably the last 1 or 2 battles of the game. And there's a strategy built into that, and I'll go over that here in a little bit. Double Team, Swagger, Sleep Talk, won't use. Swift, probably, actually we're going to skip it over in this playthrough now I think of it. There's no use for it. We have good physical move with Peck. We have a good we have stab move with Dart with Pursuit, and we can really just get returned shortly after we would get Swift. So there's really no use in getting it. And then when we have Dream Eater, Detect, not going to use. Rest, potentially, depends on the strategy I decide to use at the end. In case the one I've come up with fails. Attract, Steel Wing, Thief, Nightmare, and Fly are moves we're not going to use in this playthrough. The reason why we're not going to use Fly is because in an optimized playthrough we can use a breeding move, which is what this is. The breeding moves for this Pokemon, there's an abundance of them, but we're going to go ahead and go with Drill Peck. And the reason why I'm going with Drill Peck is, one, Drill Peck's more powerful than Wing Attack, so that's why we're going to forego Wing Attack. It is better than Sky Attack. People will argue that with me, but hear me out. Sky Attack only has 5 power points, Drill Peck has 20. So you have to go heal a lot to use this effectively. 2, Sky Attack takes 2 turns, and it's not like Fly. With Fly, the first turn you go up in the air, you can't get hit. Sky Attack, that's not the case. You can get hit, you can get paralyzed, you can put to sleep, you can get poisoned. A whole bunch of things can happen. 3, 90% accurate. So you can do all this stuff and it can miss. But if you look at Drill Peck is stab to 120 base power. So over 2 turns, that's 240 damage dealt. Whereas Sky Attack, over 2 turns, it's only 210. Because it's stab, it's 210, but it takes you 2 turns to use the attack. So this is not as good, not as many power points, not as accurate. Drill Peck is a far superior, the best flying move in the game. Any Pokemon can get this, is very lucky. And I don't think there's an event move, but I'm not going to use the event move with this Pokemon. So we're going to add Drill Peck to this Pokemon's moveset to start the game. So we're going to start with Drill Peck and Peck. It's going to make the early part of the game super, super easy, barely an inconvenience. It's more than double the power of Peck. And we're going to obliterate a lot of things early in this game. And it's actually going to have a use far into the game. And definitely near the end of the game. It's more powerful than Fly was, so in situations where Fly was useful, this is a more powerful version of that. So let's go and go back to the first slide, and we'll go over what we're going to do. So the biggest hiccups we had in our playthrough is Jasmine, which we are going to negate that issue by having Hidden Power Fire. Okay? Hidden Power Fire will one-shot both the Magnemites, and I'm confident Steelix will be a 2-shot with Hidden Power Fire. Okay, so she's completely negated. We took 5 minutes to beat her. Shouldn't take that. The Elite Four, there wasn't really a lot of problems in the Elite Four. We had Hidden Power Ice to take care of Lance. We're gonna have Icy Wind. That should be enough to take care of them. And then my strategy against Red. So there's a couple ways we can do this. I contemplated Hidden Power Electric, but that doesn't solve my Jasmine problem. So that's why I went Hidden Power Fire. We won't be using Hidden Power Fire in the fight with Red. So what we're going to do with Red is we're going to get to a higher level first off. We were at level 75 when we faced Red the first time in the original playthrough. Our goal was to be at least at level 80. So if we get to level 70, we can give 10 rare candies right before this battle and get to level 80. That gets us over 2 damage rounds. So that gets us over 78 is 1 damage round, and level 80 is another damage round. So those are good. And then we're also going to use Mud Slap. Mud Slap will be used. Pikachu is not going to be a problem. We one-shot Pikachu at level 75. We're going to one-shot it at level 80 with return. That's not a problem. Blastoise, we're going to use Mud Slap. It's going to try to use Blizzard because it's going to come up as super effective because we're flying type. It's an ice type move. But if you use Mud Slap, we're going to take a move that's already low accuracy. Generation 2, Blizzard is reduced to 70% accurate. So when we use a couple Mud Slaps, that move is going to be pretty much non-existent. And he only has 5 power points with it, so if we can just endure a couple of them, he's not going to use his most effective move. He might even run out of power points. And we're also going to have the leftovers left over. So even if he does hit us, over a couple more turns, we're going to replenish a lot of our health back. We just can't get one shot. That's the biggest thing with this. And then when we get the Snorlax, Snorlax, we don't really have anything that's going to be great at knocking him out in like 1 or 2 hits. However, Mud Slap will do the same thing. It'll make it so he becomes more inaccurate, and over those turns where he's missing, we're going to replenish health as we whittle him down. And then the third Pokemon we had problems with was Charizard. Not that there's a type effectiveness there, but Charizard has a very powerful fire attack and has a great special. So its fire attack does a lot of damage. We just got to be able to survive 1 so that we can 2-shot the Charizard with return. After that, everything's a foregone conclusion. Venusaur's weak to Drill Peck, and Espeon can't even hit us except for Swift. So we're not going to have too many problems with her, with Espeon. So that's really the strategy there. I don't think we have to change much up. There's kind of a situation where you get pretty good at Pokemon, where you can kind of just know right off the gate how things are going to do. So in the first playthrough, my playthrough from like start to Elite Four pretty much was planned out exactly how I anticipated it. It was a little bit faster than I anticipated, but it was pretty fast nonetheless. And with the optimized playthrough, I don't think we're going to gain too much ground. I think it was going to be about 5 minutes. So if we get this done in an hour, that's what my goal is on the Elite Four side. And when it comes to beating Red, just under an hour and a half. We do have to overlevel a little bit, so we're going to fight a little bit extra battles in Kanto than I normally would. However, the payoff's going to be worth it. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This is JD. This is JD's Nerdverse. This video will come out on Friday. And I want to announce that starting next week, not this week, starting next week, I'm going to start having playthroughs of Pokemon Blue on Wednesdays. There's not going to be like a prediction video or nothing like that. We're just going to dive right in. I'll talk about it while we're playing. But more or less, I want to do a lot of Pokemon like in a row, and then have like a who is the best. I want to do all the fighting type, fire types in a row, and then have a prediction or a video where I kind of pick who's the best fighting or fire type in Generation 1. And then we're going to jump and do flying type, and then we're going to jump and do this type, whatever the case may be. So that's what we're going to do starting on Wednesdays. I do have to find the time, so let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is that something you want to see? I have a new overlay, so a lot of these I've actually done before, but I did want to go back and do a couple of them, and now I have an overlay that kind of breaks down the stats and ins and outs of the Pokemon that I would prefer to have, so I can reference that while we're making the videos. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This is JD, JD's Nerdverse. Video comes out on Friday. Let me know what you think. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys on Friday.